Okay, so we started a little early this morning, and look, I wasn't able to get the first couple rides, but 6:30 was our start time. So far, we made $13 in about half an hour. On the way to another pickup now, about 9 minutes out. I think it was like 30 total minutes, maybe like 35 minutes. Paid somewhere around like $12. Yeah, looking at about $25 to $26 for the first hour. I mean, I'm in Houston, so it's not horrible. Gas is super cheap out here, so I mean, I've paid $2.40, I think $2.42 a gallon this morning, and I get about 350 miles on a full tank, so anywhere between 150 and 200 is the goal. Monica, we're on the way. See you in about 8 minutes. So had to flip it over to the other camera. So I get this question a lot from riders. So they ask me, do you make good money driving for Uber? And I said it's all relative. How much, like, it depends on how much money you make now. Like, if you make, $15 an hour, $16 an hour, and you have a vehicle and you drive to work every day and stuff like that, then I tell them, it'll be beneficial for you, But if you make, $20 to $25 an hour already, if you don't necessarily like driving, it's probably not the job for you, because you're going to be in that range. I mean, there's a lot of different things that go into it. It depends on what time you're available to drive, okay? Everybody's like daycare and stuff like that, or if they have kids, or, if you're a women don't like to drive like overnight and late at night, or like super early in the morning. So it depends on what time you're available to drive. It depends on, what kind of vehicle you have, what city you're in, what city and state you're in, Me, I'm in Texas, so the gas is very low. Mile per gallon for me is great. I have a Honda Civic, and I get 35 miles to 40 miles per gallon. And so I'm able to really maximize on the amount of money I'm able to make. So it all has to work together in order for you to really be like for you to get what you're trying to get out of it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to drive in, because people out here in Houston drive horribly. So you gotta stay on your P's and Q's out here, man. These people, whoo, I tell you. But there's money to be made. People ask me, do I drive Uber and Lyft? I don't drive Lyft for the simple fact, well, I do, but I don't, okay? So the only time I drive Lyft is when Lyft they have promos where you can do like a certain amount of rides and they'll pay you extra. So they'll be like, hey, if you do like 20 or 30 rides this weekend, we'll give you like $80 or $100 or something like that. When they do something like that, then I'll drive Lyft. Other than that, I'm just gonna be perfectly honest. I don't like the Lyft clientele. I just don't. A lot of times, the Lyft clientele is just, I just don't like it. I'm just gonna put it like that. But I try to stay away from that. Amazon Flex, I'm still on the waiting list for Amazon Flex. I'm trying to add that to do that as well. But it doesn't really, just based off of my, research, unless you're getting tipped on Amazon Flex, you really don't, it's not going to make too much more than what I make now driving for Uber. And it's just another outlet to do, just so I'm not doing the same thing. And I don't actually have to deal with people as far as like picking them up and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, if I can make the same amount of money and not have to deal with the interaction with people, you can do that as well. So that's cool. But just in a general aspect, I mean, it's decent money to be made. It's not the best money in the world. You just have to pick the times you want to drive right, have the right vehicle, so that way your profits are a lot higher. You know what I mean? If you're spending $40, $50 for gas, then you have to make, $240, $250 in order to get the $200 in that. But if you're only spending $15, $20 of gas, you only got to make $220, so which means you might can drive one less hour for the day, or an hour and a half less to make the same amount of money, because you're not spending money on gas. Take your lunch. Take you a lunch. If you're going to be driving all day, take you something from the house, so that way you're not stopping spending $10 or $15 or something outside the house on food, which is also bringing down your hourly. You know what I mean? You're trying to keep your hourly up there as high as possible. So I drive during the morning time. I try to stay out of the inner city during the morning time. I try to start between 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning, and if I don't start early enough, I won't go out until nighttime. I don't like to start like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock right in the middle of traffic, because sometimes it just takes you into the inner city and you're screwed. You just start slowing down around 10, 11 o'clock, and you're not going to make any money. So me, I like to stay out of the inner city, go to those outskirts and drive around there where the traffic is not as bad, and just maximize those hours you have from like 5 in the morning until about 11 to 12 o'clock, and try to get like 6-7 good hours in. And you never know, you probably can get between like $160 to $200 in that time frame, So we're on the way to go pick up this ride. Let me see. Yeah, so we're about 6 minutes away. I told you, I don't be taking that long. I'll be zoom in, I'm gonna go ahead and knock this ride out, make another little $17, $18, cross our fingers for a tip. $2 or $3, just think about it. If somebody leaves you $2, $3 on a $17 ride in 45 minutes, boom, now that's $19, $20. You already hit your $20 mark for that hour. I mean, you still got another 15 minutes to go. So wish us luck. Let's go ahead and make this money. Woo! We just drove that like 22, 23 minutes, and look, Uber gives him 2 minutes to come outside. He didn't come outside. It said eligible for cancellation fee. I called twice, no answer. Their little blue dot is not showing up, so I don't know if they ordered for somebody else or whatever it may be. I sent a text message, no response. I give them another minute to come after the 2 minutes. Nobody shows up. I go ahead and cancel. As soon as I cancel the ride, the dude walks outside. Y'all need to answer your phone. Answer your phone when the Uber person's calling you, or we will cancel. Sometimes we give you a couple minutes or whatever it may be, but we'll leave, bro. And I got $10. There we go. $10 in 30 minutes. I mean, they need to pay me for making this ride. And that's what it is. Hey, I feel bad for the guy, because he came outside literally as soon as I pressed the cancellation button. He came outside. So gotta be quicker than that. You see, as in the difference as I pull up to this rider, as soon as I pull up, she's not outside, but her blue dot indicates that she's inside the house. So I know the person that ordered the ride is in there. And 2, she texts me right away and says, I'll be right there. These kind of people, I'll wait for, because they're acknowledging that you're here, and they're letting you know that they're coming. I don't have to call them, I don't have to text them, I don't have to do anything. They know that you're here, and they do their part, okay? And so I'll wait an extra 1 or 2 minutes, because they said they're coming. If you don't respond, if you don't answer the phone, then what am I supposed to do but to continue working? All that does is drag. When you don't show up, you take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes, it drags down our hourly. The only reason why we took the ride is because the minutes, the miles, all that matches to what we're trying to make. So the longer you take to come outside when you've had all that ample time, you know what I mean? We factor in those 2 minutes, within our hourly. So we're like, hey, if it takes us 6 minutes to get there, they got 2 minutes to come outside, that's 8 minutes. It's a 15 minute ride after that, that's 23 minutes. It's gonna pay me $8. That's what we factor in. So once you start going taking 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes, you're cutting into the hourly that we anticipated for that ride. So if you're not answering, we're just like, hey, I gotta make this money. You know what I mean? So look, just, do your part. We do our part. We show up on time. If we gonna show up on time, at least you can do is answer the phone, or send a text message, say, hey, I'll be out there in a couple of minutes. Especially if we show up early, we don't mind. If we show up early or whatever it may be, because we're moving fast. Hey, just go ahead and shoot us a message like, hey, you showed up earlier than what I expected. Give me a couple more minutes and I'll be out there. I'll wait for you, no problem. All right, it's about 9:15-ish. So we've been driving. Our first pickup was at 6:35. So not even 3 hours yet. And we're not even 3 hours. We still got another almost 20 minutes on this hour. And we're just about $60. So we're, a little bit better than $20 an hour right now, and and we're steady grinding. Got a ride. It pays about $9 for about 13 total miles. That's a really good ride. 12-13 minutes pickup. So 25 minutes. About $9. It's pretty decent. The mileage is really good. That's what you want to go off of. You want to try to get as close to $1 a mile as you can. So, $9 for 13 miles is actually not bad when you're trying to do that. And then after that, we actually have a scheduled ride for 10 o'clock to go to the airport that pays about $30 for about a just under an hour ride. So you have to build your way up to get scheduled rides. When I first started driving, I didn't get a lot of scheduled rides because I was a new driver, But once you start hitting thresholds, like you start hitting 1,000 rides, 2,000 rides, you keep your acceptance rate high and you keep your cancellations low. I mean, you can start getting some really, really, really good rides, especially with the scheduled rides. But you got to, you take care of Uber, they take care of you. So some days you just got to accept every ride. Sometimes, even though they're bad, to get your acceptance rate up, get the cancellation down low. And then you flip that and start to take the reservations. Some mornings, on Monday mornings, man, reservations. Look, I'll start my reservations around 5 o'clock, 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'll just have reservation after reservation after reservation. And before you know it, I'll basically have a shift to where I have like a 5 o'clock ride, a 5:45, a 6:30, a 7:30, a 8:30. And so next thing you know, those are guaranteed rides. You don't have to fight for them. And next thing you know, I'm making like $150, $160 in 6 hours because the scheduled rides are so especially when you go in the airport, you get tips. Those are the great ones. So, we're pushing along. We should, after we finish these 2 rides, we should be somewhere close to $100. So, looks good to me. All right. We finished that 10:40. I told you about 10:40. We're gonna drop them off. So literally, we started at 6:35 this morning. Drop it off at 10:40. So just over 4 hours of driving. We made $90 on the app. $10 tip right there. $10 cash tip. It's about $100 in 4 hours. We're looking at $25 an hour right now. Looking great, you know what I'm saying? Today is Thursday too. Thursday is, to me, just overtime, it's one of the worst days. For my hourlies, for just overtime, I found that Thursdays have been one of my lowest hourlies throughout the week. And so, being able to pull $25 an hour right now is really, really, really good. So, we leaving the airport. Only thing about taking airport rides is because I have the Platinum, I have priority queue. If there's nothing available at the airport, I don't like to sit and wait. You can if you like. I don't like to sit and wait. But when you leave, it takes a while before Uber recognizes that you're not at the airport. So always figure that in with your, if you go to the airport and you're not going to actually sit there and stay and wait, figure in another 5 to 7 minutes with you having to leave the airport and getting out of, because it'll tell you like head to the waiting lot for like a while, so you have to get out of that area before they actually start to give you more rides. So typically it takes a little bit. So look, I mean, we're gonna move along. We're gonna try to knock out another 2 to 3 more hours, try to make another $50 to $75, somewhere in that range. We still got another almost like 100 miles in gas. Normally I make about $70 for every 100 miles that I make, about 70 cents for every mile that I go, which isn't horrible. You're trying, like I said, you're trying to get it close to $1 per mile. Uber was trying to get me to go back to the waiting area. I don't do that. Look, since I have priority, I don't have to go to the area, right? If I'm at the airport and there's a ride for me to take, they'll just give it to me. If they don't give me a ride, that means that there's not a ride for me to take at that point. I'll leave the airport, and sometimes like I'll get like halfway out of the airport back to the main street or whatever, and then halfway out they'll give me a ride sometimes if need be. But I just don't sit around. I don't like to sit. I'm all about hourly, trying to make as much per hour as possible, so I can drive as little as possible. I can be out of the house as little as possible. Just trying to maximize my time. Driving it's not necessarily like taxing on my physically, but mentally is very taxing, being that you always have somebody else's life in your hands. So you're always driving just a little bit more cautious than you would, with a little bit more stress than you would if you were just driving by yourself. Now granted that yes, you drive with your own life in your hands, but when you're driving for somebody else that you don't know, you just have a little bit more stress on your shoulders, a little bit more responsibility, and so you carry that the whole time you're driving, and essentially you're doing a mini road trip every single day. And so the least amount of hours you can put on your brain and stress you can put on your brain, the better. So while you're out here, you want to wait as little as possible. You don't want to just have a whole lot of idle time where you don't have a ride, or you're not headed to a ride. And so you gotta keep moving. Like I would tell my girl, you gotta look, I'm moving, you gotta tuck and roll. I gotta go because I'm all about keeping my hourly up. I never really want my hourly to dip under $20 after gas, because it just is, to me, it's not worth it. If you're not making at least $20 an hour, doing a job. Yeah, these days, I mean, you really want to be somewhere closer to $25 an hour. Kind of like Amazon, I think they start off at like $19 an hour, somewhere around there. But that's like, that job is a lot more like taxing on your body physically, so $19 for standing all day and dealing with a boss and having to come in at a certain time, that's one thing. But $20 to $25 an hour where you have no boss, you can stop whenever you want, you can take a break whenever you want, you can start whenever you want, you can make your own schedule. The flexibility is what I look for. That's the biggest thing, is that you can do whatever you want. You can drive at whatever time you want to drive. And if you're in a big city like I am in Houston, you can drive at whatever time. You can start early in the morning, you can start late morning, you can start early afternoon, you can start late afternoon, you can start evening, you can start late night, you can start overnight. It doesn't matter what time you start, you can start whenever here in Houston. And so we got us a ride. It pays like $5.80, but it's only 8 miles. So at this time of day, it's 10:50 right now. I mean, the traffic is not horrible. So 8 miles for just about $6. I mean, like I said, when you can't get the time always on point, then you just want to make sure you get the mileage on point. sometimes you're able to get both of those to match up, more or less like you're able to get those to match up overnight. When you're driving overnight, 11, 12, 1, 2, you know, in the morning, there's no traffic. There's you literally have no traffic to combat you, so you're able to get the best time for the mileage overnight. During the daytime, you can't always get the hours in the minutes like that you want, so you have to focus sometimes more on just the actual distance, so that way you can maximize your money when it comes to your gas. You know, because if you're spending less on gas, even though you might be driving more hours, it still will even out, you know. So if you're going to try to maximize, the first thing to do is to maximize time. And how you maximize time is not driving in traffic, not being, you know, I understand that, you know, because I've done it, I've tried it, you know, and I understand that that's when they have the, you know, the promos where they have like plus $6, plus, you know, things like that. But if you just think about it, they're just paying you for the time. And so you're sitting in traffic and it winds up paying about the same. You may make $1 per hour more or something like that, but at the end of the day, I hate traffic and it's not worth my mental health. You know, driving in traffic every single day is not worth it. I have to get paid so much more in order to drive in traffic. Like, if I could guarantee myself, you know, $30 to $35 an hour by driving in traffic, then I would do it. But it's just not, it's not there. I have a scheduled ride at 3 o'clock from the Spring area to George Bush Airport. Pays about, I think it was like $28, $29. That will be our last ride of the day. Depending on where I'm at or where I'm located, I might take like a little 30-minute break, stop by the house if I'm in that area, and give me a little bit of, you know, give me a little lunch, and then keep on going. But the key, the goal is to be home before 4 o'clock, because look, after 4 o'clock in Houston, you don't want to be on these streets, okay? Because everything will be like packed. Kids are out of school, traffic is horrible, and if you're not on the Beltway spending money to drive, then you're gonna be screwed. So the goal is to be in the house by 4. We'll probably do this ride and maybe 2 more about 12 o'clock. We'll probably take a break because I didn't bring lunch today. Normally I would bring one, and so I would just, you know, eat while I'm out and stuff like that. But since I didn't, we'll just I'm not too far from the house. Bush here, I just left the airport. Bush is about max, it's like 20 minutes away from my house. And if we make it by the house, we'll, you know, stop, make a little lunch, you know, we'll make it work, you know. That's the beauty of, you know, driving. You create your own schedule so you can do what you want to do. So we were thinking about going home and getting a lunch, but it looks like we're just gonna thug it out. Finish that ride. Then after that ride, I got another ride that pays about $14 for about 40 minutes. It's about, I think, 20 miles, so it's not too bad. And then I have a scheduled ride after that. That is about it's $10 for 20 minutes, and it's like 9 miles total. But scheduled rides that pay you, so it's like almost $1 per mile. So it's really great. All right. So we finished that ride, the one that paid like $14, and then got another ride. It was a scheduled ride. Paid about $9 for 11 miles. Left me a $3 tip. That's brought us up to $135 at about just under 6 hours. And we're on the way to another ride right now. And then we're going to set our destination to go to the house. We got the destination entered. really like how Uber does that. You can pretty much, whenever you're ready to go home, you put your address in, and it will funnel rides towards your address. Now, how good they do it, it just depends. It's a hit or miss. You know, some days it's great, some days it's not. But what it will do is, it won't, when you do that, it won't affect your acceptance rate, because they will now start to give you requests instead of giving you rides. So if it's a request and you did
new message from Alana. Gate code is number 1023. Please come down to building 46.
I can pick and choose, and even if I don't necessarily want to go home at that time, and if like a good ride comes up that, you know, takes me a little bit away from the house, I'll still accept it, but I don't have to in order to keep my acceptance rates up. So we're gonna go knock this ride out, head to the house. I mean, we're almost at our quota. If once we do this, once we have 135.
New message from Alana. I have on black jacket and blue jeans.
The lady name is Alana. She's already texting me talking about she'll have a black jacket and blue jeans on, which means that she's probably already outside waiting, which is a good thing. Love for them to be waiting. They can just hop in, keep going, maximize time, maximize money. That's it, man. I like, honestly, I just want to make, like, I like to make $20 an hour after gas. My gas normally turns out to be between $2 and $2.50 an hour. So I need to make somewhere between $22 and $22.50 an hour in order to make $20 an hour. Anything over than that, if we end the day at $25, $26 an hour, we're looking at $23, $23 an hour, which is it's an okay job. It's not great, but it's okay. So let's go ahead and knock this out. We got about a couple more rides in us. We're going to go and get some food. Then we have our scheduled ride at 3 o'clock. And that will be pretty much our last ride of the day. You know, it doesn't matter like when I take my lunch or whatever, you know, whether it be early, whether it be late. Just got to get some kind of food in me. If not, I get really like tilted. I'll be ready to stop driving. So we're gonna make sure we get some food in our system. That's the thing, man. You gotta, when you're out here, you gotta take care of yourself. Don't, you know, push yourself too hard. Don't work too much. Make sure you keep food. Make sure you keep water with you, or whatever you drink. If you're not drinking water, just make sure you, you know, are ready for whatever. Okay. All right. Catch y'all in a bit. All right. Headed to our last ride before we take our lunch break. But look what we got. We got a little snack for our lunch break. We dropped this lady off. She is a manager at a donut shop. Look what we got. Filled donut. They like donuts filled with ice cream or some shit. Look at this, cookies and cream. This is a strawberry cheesecake. This is fire, man. This is what you get when you just never know who you're gonna run into, who you dropping off, or whatever it may be. Free food. There we go. I'm gonna eat one, like maybe half of one of those for with my lunch. But yeah, we got a little snack. All right, let's go knock this last ride out. We're sitting at 142, just over 6 hours, like 6 hours and 15 minutes. We're sitting at 142, so we're well above $20 an hour today. Doing really great today. Probably gonna end somewhere around like $23 an hour, 23 to 24, which will, you know, essentially lead us over 20. On Thursday, like I said, it's one of the worst days. Me personally, me driving, I've had days on Thursdays where it's like $18 an hour, $19 an hour, which are like not great. So can appreciate the day today. Let's go ahead and knock this last one out. Destination, like I said, we got the destination entered into the house, so should be good to go. All right, so we're gonna wrap that up for the time being. I'm just grabbing some gas before I head home. I drove 7 hours. we just round off. We'll go from 6:30 to 1:30. 7 hours, we made $157.75. So if you do the math, we put in $13 exactly for gas this morning. So you take away that $13 from the 157, it leaves at 144 after gas. So about almost $21 an hour, which is a pretty decent day. I mean, it's about as best as you can ask for, especially when you're driving into like 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock, which is the slowest time of the day. So in order, like, you start off pretty good around that $25, $26 an hour mark, and then it might drop down to about like closer to $20, you know, but it winds up evening out. So we ended around close to like $24, $23 and some change, and after gas it brings about almost $21 an hour, which is a good day. You gotta love it, man, you know. Another good day, solid day, baby.